Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bison Video Blog on this Monday morning with Jeff Kolpack. I'm Dom Izzo. North Dakota State ready to begin Missouri Valley football play on Saturday with the Illinois State Redbirds, a game that was initially not on the schedule for 2024, and then Western Illinois departed, and the Bison got the Redbirds back on the first time they've played in Normal since 2021. That's a place where, frankly, the Bison have had some great success. The last time they lost in Normal, Jeff, was 2010. They played well down there.
That was a long time ago.
But
I look back, I remember Marcus Williams had a big kickoff return on one game, and that's when Illinois State, I think, was really a threat to win the conference. They may be this year. We don't know. I mean, the non-conference after 4 games, now this is a season where you can have 4 non-conference games, I think has brought a lot of positives and a lot of question marks for almost every Valley team, don't you think?
Let's start with the question marks for the Bison, because I think people will be pointed again at the defense. Rush defense gives up 200 yards for the second consecutive week. Gave up a 72-yard touchdown to Terrell Green late in the game against Towson. Where do we go? Where do you think what happens here with the Bison D?
Well, you can't give up 200 yards rushing and expect to really, I think, Dom, contend for a conference title. I know it's a Captain Obvious statement, but they got to figure that out, because there's a formula. There's a formula to win a conference title and make a deep run in the playoffs. And one of them certainly is having a stout run defense. That's been unquestionable, not debatable. You need to be able to stop the run and get your offense back on the field. This offense is performing at such a high level that, the Bison giving up like 6, 7, 8 minute drives. They could be scoring 50 points a game.
We saw that East Tennessee State in the first drive of the second half of the game 2 weeks ago had the ball for 7 minutes, scored a touchdown. Heck, that third quarter was almost over, and that really chopped into the chance for the Bison. And granted, I know they had a comeback of comebacks, but speaks to what you're talking about was the inability to get off the field on third down.
Well, and I think we've seen enough now, Dom, where was it a one-time deal? Is it a trend? Right now, I have to say I'm leaning toward trend. I don't know how you can't, because, again, 270 to East Tennessee State, and they're good. I mean, they destroyed Elon last weekend, but then over 200 last weekend to a CAA team, which I think is probably better than maybe they're
I'll be interested to see how they go the rest of the way, but their offensive line could move the ball. I'll look on the defensive side. The defensive line is just 4 sacks. Or the defense in total has 4 sacks. The D-line has 2 of them. That's something. We've hit linebackers. I'm going to look at D-line. What's going on there to get to the quarterback? We've not seen that yet this season.
No, we haven't. And this is a veteran unit, too, that I think is expected to be one of the strengths of the team. There's no question about it. And so far, I have not seen the opposing quarterbacks. Granted, they're getting it out quicker. I'll give them that. They're doing a lot of quick drops, but I have not seen a 3rd and 10 and this guy running for his life. Have you?
No, and we've each got plenty of comments, texts, emails about, well, why aren't other guys playing? The only comeback I have
maybe
to that,
they're not
Jeff,
good enough.
It was that. We're 4 games in. If they're not playing yet, maybe there's a reason why. That's the only thing I can think of on this.
Well, and again, Tim Pausik's press conference is tomorrow, and obviously we'll probably ask a couple of the same questions that we did last week. I mean, that's just what we do. And
although he said he wants to see more guys play. He said that last week. So I guess the question
is
a
little more at linebacker.
A little bit. There was at least different combos out there with Enoch Sibomana played and Marcus Gully were playing with Nick Kubitz, but I don't know if it's the wholesale change. Maybe he wants, I don't know. Maybe it just can't happen. Maybe this is who they have.
Well, I don't know. I wish I knew.
I know.
I mean, that's like, I know you look at the stats, and obviously what our job is to, we evaluate what we see. And everybody can see it.
Yes.
I mean,
yes, you're right.
When the Towson running back, you're up 31-17, and he goes virtually untouched up the middle for 72 yards to cut it to 31-24 and make a game of it. Luckily, the NDSU offense came back with a good drive of their own, or who knows what we'd be talking about now. But when you give up a 72-yard run virtually untouched up the middle, maybe guys grabbing at, diving for an ankle or so, that's not good.
Nope.
That's not good.
You mentioned offense, though, is humming.
Ooh.
Boy, Bison offense right now is clicking at a rate we haven't seen in a while. They had 126 yards out of Marty Brown, most carries for a running back since Hunter Lipke had it against UND in the spring of 2021. Jackson Williams has added a threat in the punt return game along with the kick return game. And Cam Miller's playing out of this world.
Out of sight. I thought Mike brought a good point up on his our post-game show on Saturday, that Cam Miller is just playing at as high a level of any quarterback that has played at NDSU. Now, as Mike said, that doesn't mean he's going to be Trey Lance, a high draft pick, because of the physical skills maybe that Trey and Carson had, and the arm strength that Carson has still. But he's playing at a level that is just as good as those guys, if not sometimes even better, in Easton Stick. And Easton Stick's the all-time wins leader in FCS football.
He's delivering the ball exactly where it needs to be. Guys are catching it in stride. They're not waiting for it. They're not reaching for it. It's right where it needs to be. He's just on point, man.
And it's just a comfort level, I see. It's just a comfort level, a confidence level, that he knows exactly where to go. The game has really slowed down for him. And if the first option isn't there, he's easily finding the second option, if not the third option. And that's tough to do for a college quarterback. But Cam Miller they call it the progressions, right?
Exactly.
You go to your progressions. I think the Chris Harris one over the middle, that was a big play. I don't think the first one was there, but obviously he saw something with the safeties that knew the field would be open, and boom, delivered it on the money, and that was a big play.
Went for almost 50 yards there. Illinois State is the opponent. We mentioned 3-1 on the season. They lost to Iowa to open the year. That was a costly loss because their top running back tore his ACL, Mason King. One of their top linebackers, Amir Abdullah, who is an all-conference guy, I don't know if he's going to be back. He's battling injury as well. I think they're looking for the following week's game when they play in the middle of October. Tommy Rittenhouse is their quarterback, who started parts of the last 2 seasons. He's been the guy this entire season. They beat North Alabama. They struggled with Western Illinois, won the game, and beat Eastern Illinois last week for their 3 wins.
Yeah, not sure what to make of this team yet, because North Alabama, I don't think, is really
they're 0-5.
Yeah, they're they struggled to beat them on the road. Western Illinois is Western, still can't win a football game. And Eastern Illinois has never been a top of the flight Ohio Valley team. SEMO is really the team that's emerged out of that league. But I think Eastern Illinois they are who they are. Losing to Iowa 38-0, that's one thing. I don't know. I think this is a huge game for Illinois State. And are they ready to contend for a conference title?
Well, it's been about a fits and starts here. The Redbirds made the playoffs. We remember had James Robinson, that great team in 2019. And we talked about it on Hot Mic on Monday. COVID hit, and it's took Brock Spack's team a couple years to finally get back on their feet. You'll remember they stopped playing in that spring season. They started and stopped. 21 was kind of a wash. We saw them in 22, and they were scuffling on offense. I think maybe finally they've got their legs underneath them where they're back and where he wants them to be.
I feel like they've always, since Trey Roberson in 2014, it's the 10-year anniversary of that great Illinois State team that lost in the last minute to NDSU in the title game. I feel like they've tried to find that Trey Roberson, that top-notch quarterback, and have come up just short. They've had a couple guys that were just bad. I mean, just not flat out capable.
Nate Davis, that was his name, the Memphis transfer. And he was a guy who he would run around and throw picks all the time. They just have not been able to find the quarterback.
And maybe Tommy Rittenhouse is the guy. Now, he's been around. They finally, again, an in-house quarterback instead of going to the transfer route. Maybe he's emerged, and maybe this is a guy who has developed like Cam Miller and is ready to make a difference this year.
I'm intrigued to see. You're right, though, because they have all the potential. Maybe they won 6 games last year. They were this close to being a playoff team. Remember, they lost the season finale at Grand Forks, or they would have gone to the playoffs with 7 wins, which would have been their first playoff berth in a few years. Brock's a good coach. You mentioned earlier, we're not sure how much longer Spack's going to be the guy there. He's the all-time wins leader. They've got their indoor facility. We're going to see that for the first time when we get there this weekend. They got the brand new, it's not brand new anymore. It's probably now 7 years old.
Stadium's nice.
Yeah, I mean, they got everything cooking. They've got NIL. They've got cost of attendance. This is a program that invests in football.
Yeah, I think if Illinois State were to try to do things over again, they would vote no to NDSU and South Dakota State from getting into the league. Because without NDSU and South Dakota State, and South Dakota's been a thorn in their side too, UND, they may have won a few more conference titles and been the team of the decade.
They've certainly had some players, and they're going to be an interesting challenge coming up on Saturday. Don't forget, Bison Game Day is live at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. We'll be there in Normal when the game starts at 2 o'clock. We hit the air at 1:50 with Kyle, myself, Jeff, and Sam Getzinger to join us for the Bison and the Redbirds meeting for the first time since 2022. For Jeff Kolpack, I'm Dom Izzo. That's this week's Bison Video Blog.